Thanks for tuning in. I'm Zach. Today I'm going to show you how I built this real estate sign for my buddy Brian, who's obviously into realty. The idea was to keep the sign as light and transportable as possible, so I rough cut the 2x4s down to length and then squared up the sides, and then put a dado stack in my table saw and used that to hull out the middle. I think it was about 3/4 inch from each side where I started, and I think the depth was about 3/4 as well. And I did the same thing on 2 boards, and it went pretty quick. And I got it as clean as possible with a few passes. And then after that, I glued it together and just ran the bead along each edge of one of those boards. I didn't worry too much about getting in the middle because it's going to be in the middle. And used a couple of screws on each end to kind of hold it in place and help it stay where I wanted to, because those are going to get cut off later, so I wasn't too much worried about leaving screw holes or anything like that. So I did that to both ends and clamped it up, and then I cut a small square piece to go inside of the top, so that when I cut the angle on the top, that it wouldn't be a hole there, it would still have a continuous piece of wood. And that was after I'd already cut the post to final length. But it turned out fine. And then I put the arm that's going to hold the sign into the crosscut slid and set a stop block up on each side, so I couldn't go over the distance that I wanted, and then just clean that out pretty good. And later I cut the angle on the end of that as well. I don't think I filmed it, and then I cut the corresponding half lap joint groove, whatever, into the big post, also using this stop block and the router table over there for support. But anyway, cleaned it all the way up and got it close to fit, and then of course I had to go back and make some finer cuts to get it there. There was like 30, I just edited them out. Looks better. And then at the bottom of that, I had to cut some boards to fill the gap, because the post anchor that I'm using is actually for a 4x4, so 3.5, and this ended up about being 3 inches square. So I just put those on there, that way it would fit in there snugly. And then sanding. A lot of it. But after I did the sanding, I ended up painting with a coat of primer and then 2 coats of black. And then this is the assembly at the end. Just the 24-inch post anchor, drive it in with an old 4x4 and a hammer, and it's pretty easy. And then you put that in there, and there's 2 bolts at the bottom. I didn't tighten them all the way up, but it tightens to hold the post straight and works pretty well. And then to make sure it stays together, I used a 3.5-inch bolt through the arm and the actual post up top with a washer, 2 washers on the front and 2 washers on the back. And the sign just hangs by eye hooks, and I put grommets in the sign, and fairly simple. Thanks for watching.